Hello, everyone. It's good to be with you on Zoom, and I hope you're all doing well. And now it's a delight for me to share this inspiring spiritual journey that I went on in February of this year, and to take you along with me. It's the Unity Earth spiritual journey to the Holy Land for United Nations Interfaith Harmony. It involved a lot of members of the new group of world servers, some of whom were on the trip, and others who were working meditatively around the world to support the spiritual journey. So let's begin. So the journey begins. We came from around the world as delegates. We left as a loving family. We came to help heal the waters with our blessings and to shine forth the joy of oneness, peace, and right human relations in a land divided. There were over 90 of us, a priest from the Vatican, an African prince, a Middle East sheikh, an ambassador, a Native American Indian chief, heads of peace groups, spiritual groups, United Nations NGOs, Christians, Muslims, Jews, monks, indigenous religious leaders, the head of the Parliament of World Religions, a head of the United Religions Initiative, Grammy nominee singers, photographers, and filmmakers, pilgrims from many nations, all traveling together in Jordan, Palestine, and Israel to help encourage harmony and collaboration and to learn more. EcoPeace was our guide, and we were supported by global meditators in esoteric and spiritual groups, while delegates held ceremonies and anchored spiritual energy on the ground as we traveled from sacred site to sacred site. So let's join now on a journey of the heart to the Holy Land with gorgeous pictures, music, and healing work of outer reality, with a hope for peace that continues. Our first meeting of all Holy Land delegates was at a beautiful hotel on the Jordan side of the Dead Sea. We began with a leadership and interfaith summit in the ballroom. And then we adjourned to go outside for an inspiring ceremony at sunset. There was a wide diversity of people, but all very similar in their hearts. Our delegates came from around the world. And a group photo of all of us. And here are some notable people to mention. On the upper left side is Ben Bowler, the head of Unity Earth from Australia. On the upper right-hand side is the Green Sheik, so nicknamed because of his outstanding work for ecology. On the right side below is Chief Phil, who is an icon for unity. And on the opposite side, there's Pato Banton, a Grammy nominee singer, and his wife, Antoinette. You'll hear some of Pato's music later on. The first night, in a program led by Fumi John Stewart, head of the International Peace Pole Initiative, the flags of each nation in the world was presented. And We invoke the soul of each nation to bring in the highest good. This is similar to the Moria Federation work, which also uses the esoteric motto of the nation and studies each nation in depth. The peace poles say in many different languages, "May peace prevail on earth." And then our beautiful first day in the Holy Land with all the delegates was adjourned. Before the official journey to the Holy Land began, some of us delegates went on a pre-trip together to Petra. This is an amazing UNESCO archaeological site in southern Jordan, where huge buildings have been carved into the stone, and it has a fascinating history. We had a wonderful time together, but also it was an important bonding experience where connections were made among us for meditative work there. At Petra, I invited some of us staying together at a Bedouin camp to participate in the Holy Land Meditation Initiative that was set up there by Alexander Ilchek, Dot Maver, and Uda Gabe in the Initiative 2025 meditation group, working together with me on the ground. There were about 50 to 60 meditators around the world. Alexander and Dot also asked me to send back reports and photos from the Holy Land trip for the Initiative 2025 group so that they could follow our journey. Those pictured in the Holy Land Meditation group here also invited some of their own groups to participate meditatively, which was wonderful. Diane Williams in the pink contacted the Spiritual Caucus for the United Nations. Fumi asked some people in her Peace Pole organization. Monica Willard, the head of the United Religions Initiative to the UN, invited some of her people. And Deborah and Angelica are both interfaith ministers. I also formed a triangle with Diane, Deb, and myself, where we said the New Group of World Servers mantra or the Great Invocation at sacred sites. All of these are examples of esoteric and non-esoteric, but deeply spiritual members of the New Group of World Servers working together. We can build a collaboration of both to strengthen our efforts to help the world. Master DK encouraged this. There are more non-esoteric but spiritual members in the New Group of World Servers doing wonderful work. At sacred sites in the Holy Land, we also used the Global Silent Minute, which was launched at the New Group of World Servers Festival in December 2019, and it continues on in use. And then we were off on our spiritual journey in the Holy Land. Our first sacred was Mount Nebo, where Moses saw the Promised Land. There I visited with two outstanding leaders of EcoPeace, Gideon Bromberg, and on the right with Audrey Kitagawa, the head of the Parliament of World Religions. At Mount Nebo, we were seeing the Promised Land, and that gave us hope for the future and for peace. And then we went to the baptism site of Jesus on the Jordan River. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. At the baptism site, we held a water blessing ceremony for the Jordan River. Interfaith spiritual leaders offered symbolic baptisms for all who desired them. Unlike in Jesus' day, today the Jordan River is very polluted and in need of purifying programs.
Yes.
I hear Siri in the background. That's funny. We learned a lot about the conditions of the waters from EcoPeace. EcoPeace was our outstanding guide on the ground for our Holy Land trip. It's a United Nations NGO made up of Israelis, Palestinians, and Jordanians, all working together harmoniously to help bring pure water to all areas of the Holy Land. It has achieved great success of cooperation in the midst of crisis and has expert understanding of the water situation. Here are the three group leaders from Israel, Jordan, and Palestine, preparing to address the United Nations Security Council on the Holy Land water situation. Because water is life in the desert, something that all people need, Unity Earth used the Living Waters theme as part of its initiative of unity and harmony. And we came to the Holy Land to bless the waters. EcoPeace works to help purify and bring in water to the Holy Land areas. But it is governments and politics that distribute the water. And it is not equal. Palestinians have water rationing, severe shortages, and high prices to buy water, and they suffer. Israelis have abundance. And Jordan, which is overburdened with huge numbers of refugees to care for, has challenging water problems too. And now, because of our short time, we're going on a quick highlighted visit to some of our other sacred sites in the Holy Land. The next site was the Mount of Temptation. And it seems somewhat incongruous to take a cable car to the Mount of Temptation, but that was the main way up. The caves there are amazing, with the most sacred site being inside a smaller cave. All of this is now part of a monastery, although there are shops and a restaurant when you get off of the cable car. This is the view from the top of the mountain and the cable car ride. We visited beautiful mosques with men praying on one side and women on the other, and for women with our heads respectfully covered. Of course, we noticed the walls of division and separateness, and the haves and the have-nots. We presented peace poles and replaced a peace pole that had been shot at in Bethlehem. And then, when it was time to cross into Israel at the border, there was a delay, which we learned is common at that spot. It took over 3 hours, and it could have been a lot more. So what did we do? We got off the bus and sang. Petra led us in song, and we sang a lot on the Holy Land trip.
We pray each day. We pray, yes, we pray. We pray each day. We pray. the doomsday clock. But your children don't worry about that. You see actions speak louder than words, and in this vision we remain undeterred. We gotta let our leaders know we know atomic bombs are the wrong way to go. Respect the nuclear ban treaty, and focus on the poor and the needy. We pray each day. We pray for a world free of nuclear weapons. We pray each day. We pray for a world free of nuclear weapons. Yes, we pray each day. We pray, yes, we pray each day. We pray, yes, we pray each day. We pray for a world free of nuclear weapons.
So we had a wonderful time doing lots of singing. And then it was on to Bethlehem and another sacred site, the Church of Nativity, honoring the area where Jesus is said to have been born. Following that, we went on to Jerusalem and we visited the Western Wall at night. Men on one side and women on the other. People write notes of prayers or requests and place the notes in the walls, and the notes are periodically removed. We were told by our Jewish guide that some Jews believe that all the prayers in the world come to the Western Wall before they go on to God. Interesting. And then a beautiful symbol appeared in the night sky. The next morning, it was a gorgeous day with the sun shining brightly for our peace and blessing walk through Old Jerusalem. We walked from the buses through the Damascus Gate and gathered at the dome on the rock. Father Josh, in the lower right-hand side of the screen, was a delegate from the Vatican, and he is the most kind, loving man. He told us stories of Pope Francis and the small office he has, and he said, "You'd never believe it's the Pope's office." Father Josh also said that Pope Francis, at events where fancy many-course meals are served, well, Pope Francis simplifies it for himself and puts all the food into one course for himself on one plate. At the dome on the rock, we were supposed to have a special tour inside the dome. And we were told the rules were not to touch each other and not to pray as we got closer to go inside. But all of a sudden, the inside tour was canceled. Someone was said to be seen praying, cameras are all around. Or someone said, our knowledgeable Jerusalem guides had tried to take us in the wrong entrance. Whatever. We took it all in stride and we went on to our next site. In our next stop in Old Jerusalem, we presented a peace poll at the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. And we chanted, "May peace prevail on earth," in several languages.
Prevail on earth. May peace prevail on earth.
Inshallah, Basir Salam.
Inshallah, Bashir Salam.
Shiyesh Shalom, Yerushalayim.
Shiyesh Shalom, Yerushalayim.
And in Amharic, Salam.
Indeed, may peace prevail on earth. We were a happy group. Then our Jewish guide showed us more of the Jewish tradition and song. After that, it was time for some divine feminine energy. And wonderful women led us in beautiful ceremony. The words were inspiring with Deborah, Debbie, Fumi, Monica, and Angelica. And I led the way through the arch of transformation. It was a magnificent day in Jerusalem, and indeed, I can't forget Jerusalem. Rocky Darwini, another one of our Grammy nominee delegates, sings a bit of his memorable song about Jerusalem.
I stood up on a rock on your holy mountains, beholding your beauty overcame me like a song. My cup overflows with joy, hearing sound of prayers and bells. My faith was once weak, but now you make me strong. Here I am with my arms to the sky, saying my prayers to the one up on high. I can't forget you, Jerusalem. I can't forget you, Jerusalem. If I forget you, I forget my right hand. I can't forget you, Jerusalem. The road to peace has been rough. You were built compact and tough. Christian, Jews, and Muslims saying prayers to God on high. Rejoice, house of Judah, the lion is in Zion, breaking every chain to set the captives free. So here I am with my voice and the sound, walking your streets like a king without a crown. I can't forget you, Jerusalem. I can't forget you, Jerusalem. If I forget you, I forget my right hand. I can't forget you, Jerusalem.
Yes, I can't forget Jerusalem. On our spiritual journey to the Holy Land, there were a number of us from the Evolutionary Leaders Group. I remember a year ago at our retreat, Ben Bowler, Unity Earth President, he's in the back row, invited me to be a delegate on the Holy Land trip. I didn't know then who was going besides Ben, but I felt called, and I immediately said yes. He said, Olivia, but I haven't told you all about it yet. I said, yes, I want to hear more, but I'm going. I learned later that when other people were invited, they too felt called. It seemed to be a theme with a lot of the delegates. A high point of the Holy Land trip was Megiddo, the sacred ceremony held there. Megiddo was named in the Bible as the Armageddon site. I told Alexander, Dot, and Uta to please ask the esoteric meditators to really pour in the light on this event. I'd been asked to speak in the women's ceremony, and I went into deep meditation before it. As we women opened the ceremony, a drone flew overhead and circled, and I didn't know who might be filming us. I gave my sharings and concluded with the great invocation. And then, as the other women spoke, 3 large birds circled overhead. And then, everyone, look at the clouds. They became a wave of clouds. After the women spoke, it was magical and potent as the energy was building. Then more and more people added their part. And finally, in the group, everyone in the group was invited to put a few words into the circle until we reached a peak point. It was breathtaking, and tears streamed down our faces. And then joy. But let me show you a short video of it, because the drone overhead turned out to be from Israeli TV, and they filmed the ceremony and interviewed some participants. So let's watch now. As I begin the video, notice on the lower banner at the bottom, the reports of the coronavirus coming in about Jerusalem and elsewhere.
An international delegation of spiritual leaders brought healing energy to the Holy Land. That in conjunction with UN World Interfaith Harmony Week. I-24's Emily Francis took part in what was called the Living Water Ceremony on top of a mountain known as Biblical Armageddon.
The sun gods were smiling on an international delegation, literally from all corners of the world. Climbing to new heights on Mount Megiddo, known as one of the lowest places on earth spiritually. Greeks called Mount Megiddo Armageddon. That is why it is believed that this is a symbolic location of Armageddon. The book of Revelations in the Old Testament says that it is here that all of the dark forces and dark armies will wage war on the glory and light force of God. That is why this very special group is here to try to eliminate that forever.
We are here for a purpose. As you know, Mitakiapi, this has been a place of the longest wars in history, right here.
Kneeling before this lifeblood of our mother. The one that binds all living things together as family.
Pat McCabe is a healer from the Native American Dene Nation of the southwestern United States, incorrectly referred to for centuries as the Navajo Nation.
My elders say is that we have already passed through many worlds. And my clan grandfather says that at this moment we find ourselves in the 6th world. We lost one of our worlds, for instance, because men and women believed they could live separately from each other. And so that world, we lost that world eventually to a flood.
Pat embodies Mother Earth to bring the sacred hoop of life back into balance.
I acknowledge all of those waters to the north.
Spiritual leaders from all different faiths visited several locations along the Jordan Valley as part of EcoPeace's environmental mission to regenerate our most precious natural resource, which knows no borders.
It's an interconnected world. That's the message we bring home. Cooperation on environmental issues is not a privilege, it's a necessity. The theme of EcoPeace focused on water, and in particularly the Jordan River, a river holy to half of humanity.
And this water dance delivered rain the next day. Something about the unity of spirit through embracing our interconnectedness as humans. Tibetan monks, native Australian Aboriginals, Ghana reggae star and UN Environmental Goodwill Ambassador Rocky Duani, and the Vatican's Ecology and Care of Creation representative were among the over 100 people on the Holy Land Living Water trip.
In spite of everything, this desert blooming because people are coming together and religions are coming together, and I think the Holy Land can send a very powerful message. And in this revolution of love, of healing, of tenderness towards one another, towards the earth, can begin here.
Even Ethiopia's Prince Ernia Sali Selassie connected with his ancestral homeland for the first time. He's the grandson of Emperor Haile Selassie, known as the Rastafari. His family is believed to descend from the royal bloodline of King Solomon and ancient Ethiopian Queen Sheba.
Ethiopia has such a rich Judeo-Christian culture, and also Islam. Islam was first accepted in Ethiopia, so in any sense, we've had a culture of tolerance, and I believe the world needs it today more than ever. So we also need it back home.
Oh God, lead them not to themselves, but guide their steps by the light of knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love.
Everyone in this group got to hold the spiritual staff and proclaim loudly their intentions for the future.
Heart-centered co-creation.
Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth.
We retold that story. And if you go back and retell the old story, you will automatically change the trajectory into the future. So from my eye, that's what we did today. We retold a very old story that has been in the human psyche for generations.
Peace on earth will be realized as prophesied.
In Mount Megiddo, Emily Francis, I-24 News.
So we retold the story of Megiddo and Armageddon, but in a higher way of peace on earth. The people who run the Megiddo site were so impressed with the effects of the ceremony that they would not take any rent money for use of the site. And Jewish newspapers reported in detail on the ceremony at Megiddo. And then, after a period of transition, we were off on a bus ride into Haifa, with Petra leading us in the Unity song. We were on our way to the Unity Earth concert for the public. It was co-sponsored with the city of Haifa and their mayor. Special guests were young people, including a young group made up of Muslims, Christians, and Jews, who are all working together harmoniously. It's exciting to hear about. The young group of Muslim, Christian, and Jewish youth, who are all friends and working for harmony in various ways, came together to the Unity Earth concert, and they were welcomed by us and Haifa's mayor at a pre-concert reception. It's exciting and encouraging because young people collaborating like this are the hope of the Holy Land. They are not stuck in the ways of old thinking and religious separateness. They are the future, the new possible. And they were really happy to attend our Unity Earth concert. The dynamic woman mayor of Haifa welcomed us as international delegates and co-workers for harmony in the Holy Land. Our delegates at the concert included Rocky, who was performing, Prince Ermias Selassie of Ethiopia, Adam Collette, and Ambassador Musi Halu. And then the Unity Earth concert began. And what a terrific concert it was. Great music and a variety of musical offerings. And there was Pato, noted singer and leader for Unity, and his wife, Antoinette, at their best. And Rocky was super too. He and Pato sang together in concert. Angelic singer Kristen Hoffman and other performers had us on our feet. It was quite a night for unity and young people. And I think I went to sleep about 1 a.m. Yes, it was fun. The next morning, we visited the Bahai Shrine and Gardens headquarters in Haifa, which is so beautiful. The Bahai religion embraces inspiring inclusiveness. And then it was time to say farewell till next time, but not goodbye. The Holy Land group today remains warmly connected on social media, and members are collaborating on many projects. There is a caravan of unity scheduled to come to the US in the fall and conclude at the United Nations in New York for International Day of Peace on September 21st. I said I would go to New York for it, and we'll see how that goes. In a recent collaboration, some Holy Land delegates and other leaders were speakers in the launch of the Global Silent 5 Minutes to Heal Our World. I helped coordinate it with Dot Maver, Tim Boyd, International TS President, and others to deal with the coronavirus. And once again, our speakers were a combination of esoteric and non-esoteric, but deeply spiritual members of the new group of world servers coming together. The Global Silent 5 Minutes meditation continues on daily now. I think back of how amazing it is that our trip to the Holy Land actually happened. The dates were planned a year ahead of time, but close to the departure date, fighting broke out in the Middle East after the US killed a dangerous Iranian leader. And then Iran attacked bases where US troops were at. Iran also accidentally shot down a Ukrainian plane, horribly killing all the people on board. We all remember these shocking things that happened earlier this year. A trip to the Holy Land then didn't look promising. But somehow, light broke through the threatening skies, and we were able to go. It seemed like divine timing in that magical window of opportunity when we could travel to the Holy Land and safely return. Right after we returned home, Bethlehem shut down, and then more shutdowns, and the virus had come to the Holy Land countries too. But in between, we were able to take the energy of harmony, unity, love, and peace, and connect with other people in the Holy Land in joy and oneness. We were a diverse group of people, and we did not know each other as delegates in the beginning. And yet we became a loving family, a microcosm of what can be. a seed planted in the Holy Land with a beautiful hope for the healing and harmonizing of the Holy Land, for true fairness for all, for abundant water, and for peace. A hope that lives on. May love and oneness and peace prevail on earth. Thank you all, and bless you all.